Alright, I'm going to read from page 164, the neuromuscular junction. Recall from chapter 7 that each skeletal muscle cell is connected to a nerve fiber branch coming from a nerve cell. These nerve cells are called motor neurons, and they extend outward from the spinal cord. The motor neuron and all the muscle fibers it innervates are called a motor unit. Stimulation from motor neurons initiates the contraction process. The site where the motor neuron and muscle cell meet is called the neuromuscular junction. At this junction, the sarcolemma forms a pocket that is called the motor end plate. The end of the motor neuron does not physically make contact with the muscle fiber, but is separated by a short gap called the synaptic cleft, also called the neuromuscular cleft. When a nerve impulse reaches the end of the motor nerve, the neurotransmitter acetylcholine is released and diffuses across the synaptic cleft to bind with receptor sites on the motor end plate. This causes an increase in the permeability of the sarcolemma to sodium, resulting in a depolarization called the end plate potential. The end plate potential is always large enough to exceed threshold and is the signal to begin the contract process. The EPP is always large enough to exceed threshold and is the signal to begin the contractile process. Isn't that special? The human body contains more than 600 voluntary skeletal muscles, which constitute 40% to 50% of the total body weight. Skeletal muscle performs three major functions: force production for locomotion and breathing, force production for postural support, and heat production during cold stress. Individual muscle fibers are composed of hundreds of thread-like protein filaments called myofibrils. Myofibrils contain two major types of contractile protein: actin, part of the thin filaments, and myosin, major component of the thick filaments. The region of cytoplasm surrounding the individual nucleus is termed the myonuclear domain. The importance of the myonuclear domain is that a single nucleus is responsible for the gene expression for its surrounding cytoplasm. Motor neurons extend outward from the spinal cord and innervate individual muscle fibers. The site where the motor neuron and muscle cell meet is called the neuromuscular junction. Acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter that stimulates the muscle fiber to depolarize, which is signaled to start the contractile process. Cool. So we'll hold off there. Down to page 164, 165, neuromuscular junction, and the summary of all those other sections too. See you.